In today's video, we're going to be breaking down what generation of Pokemon has the best roster of shinies. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to take into account shiny locks or shiny methods. This is purely based off Pokemon design and color changes. And I already know you're going to disagree with my opinions, so comment below what your favorite generation of shiny Pokemon is, and comment below what my worst take was in this video. Coming in last place, as usual, is Galar. Starting with the starters, I just don't think they're anything special, or good enough to write home about. I think Sobble's definitely the strongest of the bunch, with a little pink on his head, but overall, nothing that special. Now as they evolve, I do think Cinderace gets a bit stronger with the gray on it, and Inteleon stays with the same vibe, but overall, nothing I would say is worth hunting for. Now onto the legendaries. I do like the design of them getting more of their main color, but overall I don't like the designs of the Pokemon in general, and I think that's just making the shinies not special to me as well. Now I do think Eternatus is the best of the bunch. I really like his design and likes how he turns all red. I think he's definitely the strongest shiny legendary in Galar. Now, the bulk is really where Galar shines, with some really good shinies. Some of my favorites are Applin, who turns green like a green Applin, Dreadnought, who turns green like a turtle, and Dragapult, getting a later blue and then yellow on his head. Dragapult is one of the only shinies I've ever hunted from this generation, but I do think there's a couple more I need to go back and hunt. Overall for Galar, I'm giving the starters a D, the legendaries a C-, the bulk a C, and overall a C ranking. Next up is Johto. Now I absolutely love this generation, with Heart Gold and Soul Silver being my first game, but their shinies just aren't that good. Starting with the starters was one of the most iconic starter hunts in all of Pokemon. They just aren't that good. I think how quickly you get them makes up for it, but again, like Galar, they barely change. Now I do like the vibes of Typhlosion getting slightly more burnt, with Totodile looking slightly more icy, and Chikorita looking like it's fall or an autumny vibe to it. Now I will give them credits for that, but really when you look at them, it's no crazy shinies, or nothing that I would go out of my way to hunt. Now the legendaries is Johto's strongest aspect, with Ho-Oh being one of the best shiny legendaries ever made, and Lugia another solid option. Celebi, as a mythical, also has ton of media attentions, getting to be in its own shiny movie, and same with the shiny legendary beasts, shinies that at first I did not like at all, and as I've grown up, I've definitely come to love them. I like the subtle changes they all get, and am planning to hunt Suicune in the near future. As the bulk, there really is nothing that special. I will say the shiny knocked out from the anime is iconic, same with shiny Umbreon, and shiny Ampharos is just one of my personal favorites. Overall, I'm giving the starters a C+, legendaries an A, bulk a C, and overall a B- for Johto. Next up, we have Sinnoh, another generation I love, but the shinies just don't hang. Starting with the starters again, they barely change, the same criticism as you'll see with a lot of the shiny trios. Now, again as they evolve, they keep the same vibe, but really none of them are anything special. Now, the legendaries again make up for it, with shiny Giratina honestly being my favorite shiny of all time, something that I hunted in Platinum a few years ago and absolutely love. Dialga's another super strong one, turning a nice turquoise color, and Darkrai and Regigigas are both strong shinies that turn a nice hue of purple. Overall, for the bulk, again, they do not have anything that special. I think that the shiny fossil Pokemon are definitely the best duo of this generation. They are a bit of a pain to hunt, but I'm not taking that into account. Shiny Lucario is one that you either love it or hate it. Personally, I love it. I think Gallade might be my personal favorite from this generation. I just love the blue he gets on his head, and his Mega with the nice orange aspects as well. And then Luxray, a lot of people's first shinies in this generation, either a Luxray or Staraptor from the Radar method, that I think there are some solid options here. Overall, I'm giving starters a C, legendaries an A, bulk a C+, and overall another B-. Next up is Black and White, as we go to Unova. The starters, again, fall into the same boat of them barely changing. However, Emboar is the strongest shiny starter we've seen so far. Getting the blue fire instead of red fire is a move I've always loved, and is a shiny I've never hunted before because I don't really like the Pokemon, but the shiny makes up for it so much I'd be willing to hunt it, and that is truly a massive praise for Emboar. Now, the legendaries I think are incredibly weak. I absolutely hate Zekrom. Reshiram, it's okay with the gold. Kyurem, nothing special. I think Shiny Genesect is honestly the strongest one of this generation, but again, just turning all red, it's cool. It got its own movie, but again, nothing that special. Now, the bulk will be their strongest part. Shiny Haxorus, an absolute classic, one of my favorite rewards for completing the Pokédex. Shiny Chandelure getting the red fire, absolutely love it. Gigalith, Bisharp, and Zoroark all getting nice hues of blue added to it are another design that I absolutely love. Now, overall for Unova, starters get a B, absolutely carried by Emboar. Legendaries get a D, bulk gets a B, and overall, another B-. Next up is Scarlet and Violet, and this is where I think the shinies are starting to really take a step up. Now, the shiny starters, again, nothing that crazy of a change. I will say I do really like Sprigatito getting the purple eyes, and when they get their final evolution, they are subtle changes, but I do enjoy them. I like the pink on Skeledirge, and I like the dark on Meowscarada. They really are better than people give them credit for. I will say at first I hated these, but they've definitely grown on me. Now, the legendaries, that might be the best legendary duo of all time. Sadly, we can't hunt them yet, but as soon as they become available, I am immediately hunting for them. Not to mention the 4 other legendaries of this generation also having super strong shiny forms. This may be the best shiny legendary duo in quadruple, or whatever you want to call it, quartuple, no clue how to say it, but one of the best sets of shiny legendaries Pokemon have ever given us. It truly is a shame they are shiny locked. And for the bulk, I would say there's some good, some bad. I think that the future forms all turning silver is super cool, but when every single one of them turns silver, it does get a bit repetitive. I think that ancient forms have some really cool, bold colors. And then Palafin is my personal favorite. I actually just picked up this card as well. I love the all black it turns, but overall, a solid generation for bulk of shinies. I'm giving the starters a C, the legendaries an A, the bulk a B, and overall a B ranking. Next up, the generation that started it all, we're going to Kanto. Now, this may be the best trio, just naturally. I think that for this generation being made before shinies were even implemented, it is incredible how good of treatment they all got. I know that Venusaur and Blastoise don't change a bunch, but the way they change is super strong. And then Charizard, one of the most iconic shiny Pokemon. Love it or hate it, you have to admit it is a good design. For the legendaries, it's alright. I think Mew's the strongest here, turning all blue. I think Mewtwo turning green. I like it's a big change. I think it's a classic design, but the legendary birds are definitely dragging this generation down. All of them really weak shinies. Now, bulk-wise, some instant classics here. Red Gyarados, another, maybe the most iconic shiny of all time. Shiny Ponyta, one that's near and dear to me, the first shiny I ever found. And then Lapras and Eevee both have really solid designs. I also want to shout out Mega Gengar. I didn't include it because Gengar's so bad, but Mega Gengar is definitely an incredible shiny. So Kanto gets B+ on starters, C- on legendaries, bulk an A, and overall a B+. Coming in third place is Hoenn. Now I'm not going to lie, I'm biased about this one. Hoenn has my favorite roster of Pokemon ever created. And they have a bunch of really solid shinies, so I'm going to probably like them more than the average person. But starting off with the starters, I really like what they did. Starting with Mudkip, my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love how they turned him like a pinky purple instead of a normal, like, shade of blue shift. I like how they actually did something different here. Trico, another super strong one, getting the turquoise and red tail. just finished hunting this one. Looking forward to the playthrough with that. And then Torchic, again, turning all yellow with a bit of orange on the fringe. Not a massive change, but another very solid upgrade, in my opinion. Then when they evolve, it's a lot of the same with Sceptile and Swampert, sticking with the same design that their first evolution has. However, Blaziken, I think is the weakest one here, turning a more burgundy, dark red compared to what it usually is. I don't love it, but at the same time, I really don't hate it. Now, the Legendaries is incredible. Shiny Rayquaza may be the best shiny ever crafted. It's right up there with Giratina for me. And then Groudon and Kyogre, I think it's a love it or hate it situation right there. I just caught a shiny Groudon, or at this point it was like a year ago, but it's definitely grown on me ever since then. I think that it definitely is love or hate, but personally, I gotta lean towards the love side. And then Latios and Latias, I think are one of the most slept on shinies of all time. I think together, the nice pop of color, so different than what they usually are, is really, it's what you're looking for out of a shiny. Something that is worth the time spent to be able to achieve it. And then for the general population of Hoenn, I think Metagross, Steven's Metagross, absolute classic with the shiny. You know, it was a gift when X and Y originally came out, or I think it was actually Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Then you have shiny Gardevoir, another absolute classic. Tons of Pokemon cards made of it. And then Breloom and Altaria, also shout out Camerupt. These are designs that I just really like the Pokemon and think that the shiny changes as well are really solid here. So overall, I'm going to give the starters a B, the legendaries an A-, the bulk an A, and overall an A- for Hoenn. Next up, for the final two. In second place, we have the Alola region with some of the best Pokemon ever crafted. Starting off with the starters, again, for the original three, nothing that crazy other than Litten turning all white. I guess that is kind of pretty crazy. But as they evolve is where they really get special. I think all of them really go strong with their design. They're all close enough to the original that it's not a stark contrast, but they all just make the original's design so much stronger, and I think that's what shiny Pokemon are truly meant to do. Now, for the legendaries, I think Lunala is the best, getting the Blood Moon vibes. I think Solgaleo turning all red is a love it or hate it one. At first hated it, but it has grown on me over time. And then the Tapus are maybe the best shiny quad, whatever you call a group of 4 people, group of Pokemon. I think the black with the accents of colors are super strong, and I love how they all flow together so well. A quad of Pokemon I absolutely would love to capture someday, even though I'm pretty sure you can't do it in the games. And then, for the bulk of this generation, they have some super strong ones with the blue Rockruff family. I think Mimikyu is going to be one that a lot of people pull to as their favorite in this generation. I think Minior is an absolute classic shiny hunt. Having to break the shell to see if it's shiny or not is a really cool gimmick. And I think Vikavolt is personally the first shiny ever caught in this generation, so I'm a bit biased, but I do really love its design. So overall, they get A's across the board. Starters, legendaries, bulk, overall, it's all straight A's for the Alola region. And now, for the best shinies in all of Pokemon, you have to go to Kalos. These games may be really easy, but they did one thing for sure, and that is design shinies. This is the first generation where they ever handcrafted shinies, and you can really tell with these shiny Pokemon designs. Starting off with the starters, for the first time I think in all of these, they get a pretty stark change other than Froakie. We get the silver on Fennekin, and get the very nice autumn look for Chespin. Then when they evolve is when they become the cream of the crop. Getting the silver fox, getting the black ninja, and getting the, who knows, we have not no clue what that is. Porcupine, who knows what, but the earth tones for a grass type is always an absolute solid move. Now the legendaries, again, incredible with these. Making them all white with their base color added to them as well was a super cool design element to make them all flow together. I really wish we got more legendaries from this generation, and hoping in Pokemon ZA for them to continue these absolutely iconic shiny Pokemon. And then for the bulk, they have a pretty small dex but that meant they spent a ton of time on each Pokemon, and really when you scroll through the list of shinies in this generation, all of them are bangers. I think Sylveon's going to be one a lot of people point to as their favorite. I think Trevenant's another really cool one, looking like very ghost-like. I think Gumi, it's solid, but again, it turns gold, it doesn't look ugly, like there's nothing to complain about that one. And then the fossils both have absolutely incredible shinies here. But overall, Kalos, they knew what they were doing. They made an absolute banger with these Pokemon, and I love that they started handpicking shinies. Overall, starters, A+, legendaries, A, bulk, A+, and overall, an A+ generation of shiny Pokemon. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I would absolutely love it if you subscribed, if you like what you're seeing. You're going to see more Pokemon content like this. Comment below what your favorite shiny Pokemon is of all time, and see you next time.